Right, test one. You've now modified the mapping.
The compensation map, basically the choke.
Yes.
To give it some more fuel from cold.
Right, so and prior to that you also fitted a different, I'll get this right, damper rubber on the crank.
Yeah, the starter clutch, it was the damper rubber that was the problem.
It was a little bit sticky and...
It was dragging, so it wasn't allowing the gear to
because you've had a problem starting the bike, haven't you? Because it was...
dragging, so it didn't have the inertia to spin to grip.
So that's now been hopefully addressed.
Oh, that has been addressed, yeah.
So you've got a fresh charge on your battery, you've remapped it slightly with some extra fuel at cold start.
Yes.
And this is the first time now, having just done that like an hour ago.
Yeah, I've just played with the basically the choke map.
Yeah.
For want of a better word.
Just sort of guesstimation, so we'll see what happens.
It's the water temperature compensation map, it's called.
Yeah, for your injection system. Yeah, your aftermarket injection system. Let's see what...
I've just put some figures in, just to see what happens.
The guesstimation, yeah.
So.
Fingers crossed, it might start first time. Let's see. From cold. Is that better than before?
I thought initially it was worse because it was spinning over and not firing, but now it's starting to fire, so yes. Maybe the fuel rail isn't primed as much as I thought it was.
Yeah, you haven't got much fuel in there.
Ooh. That's a lot better.
It's better, is it? Okay.
Actually firing every time I crank it.
Yeah.
So I'm holding the throttle a fraction open there.
Yeah, it smells very fuel rich.
Yeah, maybe I put too much into it.
Well, we don't know.
We're only at 12.5 degrees, so it's probably got about 20% extra fuel going in, which is too much, I think.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the catch has run off.
Looks like fuel coming out there.
Yeah, it does smell very rich. Well, go on, give it one more go.
Yeah.
As it gets warmer, it'll obviously get a bit better.
Yeah, yeah. 13 degrees on the temp gauge.
Yeah. Will it take any throttle when you do that, or
just lifting it off idle a fraction?
Yeah.
That's obviously no throttle.
Yeah. Oh, a bit smoky there.
It was a bit, wasn't it?
A bit smoky on number one. No, I think I put too much fuel in. Yeah, you're going to remap it with less fuel. Well, rather than keep
it wasn't like this before.
No, so I think what you said was it's based on temperature, so...
Yeah, it's based on the coolant temperature sensor, which obviously this is air cooled. So I've got the temperature sensor screwed into the plenum chamber on the back of the cylinder head.
Right.
So it measures engine temperature.
So originally you had it 000 everywhere.
I backed off all the fueling because it was running too rich.
Yes.
Thinking it was the fueling that was too rich, and it wasn't. I'd over baffled it.
Yeah.
So I've took the baffles out.
Which is why it's so loud.
Yeah.
So now you're going to try again, and then you realise the issue. Yeah, maybe you want to remap it, a bit less fuel.
A bit less fuel.
On that cold start. Yeah, too rich, I reckon.
I'm just trying to look at my air-fuel ratio, but the sensor's got to warm up.
Yeah.
The lambda sensor's got to warm up to start reading, I think. That just dies. I'm not touching anything.
No.
It just runs and dies. Still looks safe. This is saying
it smells.
This is worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop and remap it and put less fuel in. If it gets worse still, then you can change over and put more in.
Yeah, I've gone too rich, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll push it back in.
Remap it.
Just take some fuel out of it. Let's try it again.
Right, great stuff. Test 2.
Test 2.
You've now reduced the numbers on the map.
Percentage of fuel it's
Yes.
injecting, yeah.
From the cold start. Oh, that is better.
That's better.
Whether it's enough, we don't know, but it's, yeah.
If I give it a whiff of throttle,
You might be flooding it though.
a bit smoky on that
Yeah.
first pipe.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never seen that before, ever.
Well, it's been... It's on the side that's leaned over, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where the oil collects. Don't worry about it.
It's getting
It's
there.
better, isn't it? It's better, but it may be not
Nearly
quite.
at 20 degrees now, so
Yes, as it gets hotter, the amount of extra fuel is cut, isn't it? Yeah.
down, yeah.
But I reckon it's
Still a bit too much.
I think so, yeah. Test 3, push it back in, and take it down maybe another few.
1% makes a massive difference,
Yeah.
so I could probably knock it from 5 to maybe 2.5.
Yeah,
2.5.
Yeah, and then go to at 20.
Go to 1 and 0.5.
half. Yeah. Cool.
Try that.
Well, hopefully we'll get there soon enough. Right, here we are again. Test number 3.
Test number 3.
So what we've done now is reduce the
Percentage of fuel being injected
when it's cold,
choke.
or as the temperature slowly increases. So we've gone from, what was it, 5% to 2% at 20 degrees.
3% we went to.
I can't remember, but it's gone down. It's about half.
Yes, yeah. I think we went to 2.
Right, so let's see what happens.
20 degrees.
Yes, at 20 degrees, which we're almost there now. Yeah, because the steps are at 10 degrees. Better.
So that's improved.
And as if you keep doing that again, as we get over 20 degrees, it's going to cut it back a bit more.
We're at 20.1 degrees engine.
Also, you're just over the break point. So the question is, do you need less fuel or do you need more fuel?
I think we might need some fuel in this.
Right, because that fuel's been in the tank for a long time.
Yeah, the tank's jacked up, so I always get a pocket of fuel down here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That can't come out of the outlet.
so you may be getting a bit low.
So the fuel might be getting low. I think that might be a problem. I did want to nip out and get some. But
Oh, we can do that later on.
find nearest garage that does V-Power, which is
V-Power.
about 10 mile away.
Okay, well. But it did start first time, then, didn't it? And it was no back.
Well,
There was no banging.
Without throttle, there's no pops and bangs. When there was no fuel going in at all on the choke, when I'd backed it off, it would do this until it got to a certain temperature, and then I could hold it on the throttle.
Right.
And I knew that I needed to put more fuel into it. So we've done that this morning, gone too rich, and now we're
Coming back, yeah. So the question is this now too rich or is it too lean? We don't know.
Well, once it's warm, I can read the air fuel ratio here.
Right. Okay.
According to this, it's showing lean, but
Well, we might have gone too far.
for throttle.
Yeah, go on.
It's not even red, it's showing lean, and it's not showing a reading there yet. 20 degrees. Fuel pressure's gone a bit high.
Might get to 30 degrees and then nothing happens.
Yeah, because it gets to 30 degrees and then it's going to cut the fuel down a bit more, isn't it?
Yeah. So it just dies.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking that there might be air getting in the...
Yeah.
In the
Okay, well, stop for now. Go and get some better fuel.
get some more fuel.
Take out that question mark over the fuel and then we can try again.
Yeah.
And either you can go a bit less fuel on the map or a bit more and eventually you'll get to the sweet spot.
I want to get to the point where I can just start hitting
Yeah, no matter what temperature.
vehicle and it comes down
Yeah.
without me touching the throttle.
All this high-tech mapping.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we'll carry on.
Fine.
Cup of tea now, but then we'll carry on another day for test number 4.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Right, test number 4.
4.
We've now reduced down the fuel map even more
Yeah.
on the cold start. The engine's a little bit warm now, isn't it? It's doing about 20 odd degrees.
Let's see. It's 25.8.
Right, so it should have, in theory, only, is it 1% extra?
zero.
Zero. Oh, okay, so that's right down to zero. Here we go then.
Here we go.
That was better.
That's it.
Yeah, we'd like to do a 0.5, but we don't seem to be able to put a 0.5,
Cents on the,
you know, in the cell.
range.
Yeah.
I think this is running out of fuel, you know.
Well, it could well be.
It's never not run. It's that popping and banging and that spluttering.
Okay.
It didn't do that.
Okay, well in that case, let's stop. You go get some nice fuel,
We need some fuel.
the high octane stuff, and then, I don't know, test number 5 will commence.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
That.
Right, so here we are, it's the next day, in fact 2 days later, back out in the sunshine for test number 5 or
Yeah.
6. So since then you've been busy because you pulled the plugs and they were,
Very rich, something
Very rich.
like, yeah.
so what's happened there? So
Well,
you
the
think
air fuel ratio was telling me that it was running lean,
which
but,
clearly wasn't.
but clearly wasn't. So then it's made, I had a bit of a light bulb moment, and I
Yeah.
looked at the settings for the air fuel ratio gauge that I thought I'd put into the ECU
Right.
were not put in. So basically, the ECU is getting the wrong information.
So you have a sensor down here somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lambda sensor in the exhaust.
Does that go straight to the ECU or does it go to here first?
Well, it connects via this, yes.
Right. And it was getting the wrong information, or you hadn't told it.
You've got to calibrate it,
Right.
and it hadn't been calibrated to read the right settings.
So now what have you done? Have you done that? Or
I've done that. I've put new settings into the ECU. Yeah, it's just to, well, like I say,
the air fuel ratio.
I've not altered the fuel map. All I've done is altered the settings on the air fuel ratio gauge. So now it should read what is
correct.
at the correct air fuel
Rather than
ratio.
fooling you to thinking, oh, it's lean.
Yeah,
Because when we first did it, you were saying, oh, it shows lean, but you could tell it was
and I was richening it up,
Yeah.
but in effect it was running dog
it
rich.
smelled so fuel.
Yeah,
The
well,
actual-
that's what we
yeah.
found out
So
by
now
pulling the
hopefully,
plugs.
fingers crossed, that's been resolved.
Correct.
So, first time, we'll see if it starts up.
Well,
it might need a few goes because it's been sitting around.
Well, the choke side, the electronic choke side, I've not set up.
No.
So it might take a few
We
attempts.
guesstimated, didn't we? We guestimated the figures like.
Yeah, we guesstimated the figures, but that was going off the figures we were getting from the
right.
air fuel ratio gauge.
was
So them
incorrect.
figures are incorrect as
Right,
well.
so that's what testing's for, so we're going to try it again.
So the test today is to see if the air fuel ratio gauge
It's giving a true.
a true reading.
Right,
Yeah,
well, let's try then.
let's try it.
Let's try it. It's cold, obviously.
Yeah. So I need to put more fuel in on the choke circuit side of it.
Yeah.
Degrees, I'd say was about right for a water cooled engine.
Yeah.
This being air cooled, they run slightly hotter than
Oh,
that.
God, yeah, yeah.
But I can leave that now for a few minutes and come and do a hot start and it'll fire up nice.
Yeah, because it's nice and warm.
Because
isn't
it's
it?
warm, yeah. So obviously it's not getting enough fuel from cold. So I need to look at that enrichment map.
Yes. So that's test number 5. It does run better than it did, a lot better. It'll idle. You can rev it, even though it pops and bangs a
Well, we
bit.
can try a hot start now. I always try a hot start once it's warm.
Yeah, okay, you can do that.
So it's been stood a minute or so now.
Yeah, try it.
If I just turn that ignition on.
Yeah.
a waver. For a second it was steady, and now it's moving again.
Right, so we brought the bike back indoors, and you're about to map it again, or alter the mapping on the ECU. So
connected it to my PC with this lead.
Right.
So I've just had to lift up
that's the actual ECU.
That's the ECU there,
box, and it's called a what? It's called a DTA Pro something.
It's a DTA Fast is the company, and the ECU is a P8 Pro.
Right.
Which is a 20-year-old ECU.
So it's now very old.
It is. The software's old, it runs.
It's a really big aluminium box, that.
Yeah, I mean, the equivalent ECU in today would probably be the size of a cigarette box. Small box.
So you've now plugged it in. I think that's an RS-232 connection, I'm not sure. It's going to go onto your laptop, and even your laptop, you had to go and find yourself a Windows 7.
Yeah, the original software runs on Windows 7.
Yes.
And I came to map it a couple of years ago so I could ride it on my birthday.
Yes.
And my laptop died.
Right, your old one. Yeah.
The old one.
Yeah.
Luckily, my next door neighbour had an old laptop that used to be her mother's, but it was running Windows 10. She said, no problem, you can run Windows 7 software on Windows 10. So she very, very kindly gave me the laptop, which is down there.
Yes.
And it now means I can map the bike using that laptop.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, isn't it? Because you've got this 20-year-old tech. Yeah. And now it's difficult to get it maintained or to do things with it.
Well, at first I thought there might be a problem with the ECU.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? Yeah.
You would. But I think it's just me not being an expert in these things.
No.
I need an expert in mapping, really.
Yes. Well, also, of course, that's a particular ECU from a particular manufacturer. So who knows what they've done?
They do.
Is there any support?
There is a support online, and they do software updates and everything.
Yes.
But I think that's more for the modern ECUs they make.
Yeah.
Things have moved on.
Yeah.
And it's still pretty capable by today's standards.
Right. So now that cable goes over there to a little laptop.
I've just put it over there to keep it away from the hot engine.
Yes. And now we're going to open up the PC.
Open up this PC and
let it talk to
that,
and hopefully improve the maps.
Well,
we'll see.
We'll see. What I want it to do is to generate what's known as a fuel correction map.
Yes.
But again, I don't know whether it'll make this map if it's not in dyno mode. I've been told it needs to be in dyno mode for it to. Other people have said not. Yes. And I've been thinking, if I've had the wrong settings from the lander to the ECU, maybe that's why it's not.
Well, yeah, we can only test.
Not generating this fuel correction.
You're learning as you go along, and it is running a lot.
It is. I mean, obviously, I've not touched it for years, so I'm relearning what
I've got to do.
What I knew.
Yes.
Years ago.
Right. Okay. Well, let's do this, and then we'll get out again and do test number 6.
Yeah, let's see what we can see.
There's your software. Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually ECU not present or switched on.
Should we turn it on?
Yeah, so you turn the ignition on.
Okay. There we go.
ECU present and switched on.
Okay.
So now I can connect to that.
So our laptop's talking to the ECU.
Yeah. So I can go in and connect. There we are, we're connected. I've got to unlock. There's a lock here that I need to unlock, which is there. Unlock the map. Okay. So any changes I can then upload. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it being essential map settings? What are we looking at first? The fuel map or the start fueling?
I'm going to do the start, whatever you do for choking.
See, it's got start fueling that there, which you'd think was
for starting
choke,
but it's not.
But it's not.
Okay.
It's basically like an electronic plastic squirty bottle. You just give it enough. You're squirting a bit of fuel in while you're cranking it.
Right.
That's what that is. The actual choke is on the water temperature compensation map, which is that one. So if I go into there...
Yeah, we did change it a few times. So
there you go, water temp, and then fuel compensation.
So what's...
so at freezing point, 0 degrees, 4% extra fuel.
Right.
At 5 degrees, 3% extra fuel. At 10 degrees, 1% extra fuel. And at 20 degrees, 0% extra
fuel. I think you should have upped that a little bit.
What, to 5?
Well, 10 at 10 degrees... be say 3 and then 2 and then 1 or whatever, or 4, 3, 2, 1, because it did seem to start easier when you had a bit more fuel in it.
Yeah, well, this is it. We took the fuel out. We can always put more in.
Yeah, but we started off with like 20s and 10s and 15s, didn't
Well,
we?
that's what it says in the instructions. It says, you know, start with 20%, and then you can, you know, lean it out.
Yes.
You know, and play
But maybe
with it.
you've gone too far the other way now. So perhaps you could just go back up to say, do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I could do, couldn't I?
Yeah.
So 0 degrees, 5% extra fuel.
Well, we're not that won't matter, does it? Because you don't be starting it at 0 degrees.
Well, no, it won't be, but
If you do like 10 degrees is 4, then 3 and 2 and 1.
let's cancel that. Let's delete that. So let's say at 0 degrees, what? 20% extra fuel.
Yeah, yeah. It's unusual. Well, you'll never be out there in 0 degrees.
No, so let's say 20 for that. Enter. At 5 degrees, which I'll never be riding it at, say go to 10.
No, 15.
Or 15, okay.
Yeah, 15. Do it gradually.
Come on, you bugger.
15.
Why won't it? It's not letting me click on it.
I think it has. Yeah, just type in 15 there.
No, it's not. I've got to see that number 3.
Yeah.
I've got to. It'll highlight it and move it to the left.
It's busy now, it's fine. Go on.
There you go. See how it's moved it to the left?
Yeah.
Then backspace,
Delete.
and then type in 15.
Yeah. And then save that.
And then enter. That saves that.
Right.
At 10 degrees,
10.
so it's done it now.
Yeah. 10.
So let's just delete that. Say 10% extra fuel at 10 degrees.
Now we're working on between 10 and 20, aren't we, at the moment?
Yeah.
When you first start. So
I'm not going to be riding it
No,
if it's
no.
bloody
Man.
less than 10 degrees.
No.
Maybe
But in summer-
between 10 and 15 degrees, like 12, 13 degrees.
so what's your next one then? What's
Well,
next?
that's 10 degrees, that one.
Yeah. What's next?
Well, and then 20 degrees, then 30 degrees.
Well, if you get to 20 is still not very hot, is it?
No.
So I would say perhaps 12 or something, or 13.
So let's say 10 degrees, 10%.
Yeah. And then go sort of 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or something.
So by the time it gets to 4:30, well,
Even 30 is not very hot, is it?
no, I mean, normally I used to put fuel in up to about 40 degrees.
Yeah, well,
you know, finishing with about 1% extra
Just gradually.
at 40.
Yes.
Once it went over 40 degrees, it was warm enough to run and idle,
Yes.
like it did out there before.
Okay, well, in that case, you get down to 40 as 0.
Balls, we got rain.
Oh, God. Well,
Is the let me just see if that washing's out. It is.
it is. Oh, hang on. Quick pause while
Have a quick pause while I get washing in.
Yes, of course.